Hi everyone, my name is PNPN, founder and CEO of Amotions, a platform with AI-powered coaching and upskilling to help managers and employees learn power skills and be more productive and connected. I'm very happy to talk to Cris. Cris is the global head of L&D at KPMG. She has 20 plus years of experience as a leader, and she has a lot of experience leading people teams, culture, performance, as well as learning and development. Cris, thank you so much for being with us. So happy to have you here.
My pleasure, PNPN.
Cris, I'm curious, like from your experience and observation, where do you see are the biggest opportunities out there for developing employees and people, especially thinking about like developing the future of the workforce?
I think the opportunities are based on the fact that we have a lot of content available, and many of the content that we have available are completely spread in general in organizations. It's really hard to guide your employee to what you need. So my point about the opportunity is about less creation, more curation, and that's where I see the technology helping us. There is also the need for less silo mind, more integration. And again, this is all about how technology can really drive what we are doing and see the connections. Then the third opportunity, it's about the data. So when you provide a learning experience for your employee is going to interact more with the technology and is going to provide more information, more data. So how can we use this data to drive what we need for our business, for our people, and of course, for our own internal material to drive our solutions. For the challenges are, I think are as the same way that I'm talking about opportunities. The challenges are about not technology, but the change management. So how you're gonna really challenging the mindset that we have today. There is this whole thing about upskilling. And integration is easy to say, but very difficult to put in place because we have different systems. And of course, what we are talking about, artificial intelligence, there is this whole question about security. There is this whole question about what are you going to do with the data? And the data needs to have a permission from employee and from the companies to be treated in a way that it's going to be used in the right way. So the challenges are all about risk. They are all about the use of the data. They are all about integration, as I mentioned. And of course, there is the human component about the mindset, the change management.
How are you tackling these things?
Oh, I think the opportunity is really excited. I'm really excited because I like to think that I am the person who connects the dots in the company. And I think it's because L&D for KPMG is connecting business and people into the solution that we need. So I'm really pleased to see this happening. I'm also pleased to see that we need less content and more curation. We have a lot of content available, but we need to really discuss what is the value of this. And this is giving us an opportunity to have the voice of our employee. So I am really excited about the opportunities. About the challenges, I mean, it's part of the game, right? Everything that we are doing it's part of the transformation. So if it would be easier, it would not be exciting or it not be fun. So I think the challenges are something that put us at the center of everything that we are doing, putting the human side. We need to think. There is a critical think about what we are doing, why we are doing, and the future, what we need to do it. So I think the challenges and the opportunities are equal. And in my opinion, they are positive things if you are really keen to transform your business and if you are really keen to bring something different to the employees.
That's true. Yeah. And it's great that you mentioned like you're connecting the business and the performance and with the L&D and everything. What advice do you have for other learning and development professionals and leaders if they're thinking about like how to get more buy-in from other departments and how to influence getting
I,
things.
my advice is the advice that I try to give to myself. Lead the change and not wait the change to lead you. Because if you don't lead the change is gonna come, either you like it or not. So in my case, I try to think about what are the implications, what are the things that we need to reinvent ourselves, that we need to start looking in a different way. This is one thing. The second one is about we are living a transformation that everything is connected. So if you work in one department and this is really a silos mind, I think this is a red flag. Because for me, with the technology, everything is going to be integrated, you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the data is going to be available. So you need to start, I think we need to start thinking in a more broader way, in a more expanded way, not only in L&D, but as I mentioned, what is the value for the business? What is the value for the person? How this is linked to performance? How this is linked to HR? So you have to think beyond your own function and what is the value of this?
Right. Like what's the value to bring to all the stakeholders and departments involved. Now, I mean, with some of the leaders that I have talked to, budget is a concern because of kind of how the companies performs or the economy. Do you have any tips for some people who are trying to get budget to get the tools they need or their employees need?
Well, again, this connected to what we were discussing about the value, right? First of all, you have to show the value about the journey that you want to have in your own firm. I think I am not in favor of jump because technology is about, and again, it's not about the fancy technology or something that is shining and fantastic. You need to test, you need to pilot, you need to prove the value, and then you can move to the whole company. My second point is also about stakeholder management.
Yeah.
And again, goes to the connecting the dots. I am sure that whatever you are doing needs to connect with the value, not only for your own business, but for IT, for HR. So think in a more integrated way. What is the chain that you are changing? And what is exactly the value that you are adding to the solution? And I think all of us is going to struggling with budget and prioritizations. So for me, this is about really understanding the solution, understanding the problem that we are trying to solve, thinking, as I said, in a building blocks, not jumping, because there is this whole mindset and change management that goes beyond the technology. You can select any technology that you need, but if you don't have a very clear change management plan, it's going to be a half and a tough journey.
So it's going to be step by step, thinking about, okay, what is the solution? And then how do you test and show some results gradually? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're very like pro innovation and technology. Where do you see like the gaps that the current technology solutions cannot have not solved yet? Like what are the remaining gaps? And then what do you think like AI could do?
Well, I think things that we already discussed, right? One, having a personal coaching that is going to help you to anticipate your agenda, your learning, your actions, and prepare yourself for meetings in advance. So I always think that if you have a virtual secretary or a virtual assistant that is going to say, hey, you have tomorrow a meeting with PNPN. Are you prepared? Do you need anything that you need to read? There is a pre-read that she submitted. Have you read? Do you want some time? So I think this is the point that we are still not there, but I think we will be. The second point is guiding our employees to be more effective, to be more efficient. And this is exactly about skills. What are your current skills? What are the skills of the future? How are you going to plan your future?
Right.
What is exactly your career, your next steps, and helping you as a coach to shape your career? There is this whole conversation that we had about learning at the flow of work. So when you have a work and this pop up and say, these are the tips that you have to bear in mind. I don't know, when you are doing a presentation skills, or no, you are going to do, you're going to have interaction with meeting, or you need to build relationship with a new team member. So these are the things that I think the technology is going to help us in one click, and is going to anticipate, is going to help you in one way to look at the future. Then there is another thing that I think technology would help us, which is about the performance, the reflections. Today, we do, we have conversations about performance looking at the past, or not even have a good memory about it. So can we have a backlog? The technology is going to remind you the milestones of the year and say, here are the milestones that it's going to help you in your conversation with your performance manager to really talk about your career, to talk about what were your achievements or your goals versus what you perform, which I think this is going to be really powerful. So when I look performance, when I look at learning, when I look at planning, and when I look even at workforce, the skills map, I think technology is going to help a lot.
So it's like kind of the AI connecting the dots in terms of what the company needs and skills and workforce, but also connecting the dot in terms of what the individual will need kind of as they develop, and then guide them to get the information they need.
And integrating data, right? Having data coming from different places and helping us to say, look, PMP is struggling in this project, but she was very good on this. Oh, she received this feedback. And then reflecting in a very, you could have your own personal coaching in a very private way, not necessarily sharing with anyone, say, I'm struggling with this and this. And then you can have these conversations, and you can have self-direct learning to help you to improve. And of course, this is not only technology. All these actions should be guided by your leader, should help you to be a better leader. And of course, having the balance about the human skills that we know that we need to exercise. And this is exactly the point that about the knowledge and the learning path that is going to put you forward as a better leader.
Yeah. So to some extent, it's like helping people see the long term, connecting different systems, like you mentioned, HR system, a business tracking system, and tie everything together in a way to generate insights so that people can know where they stand and then reflect on their goals, and also get guidance on what they need. That's more long term, and then also in the moment coaching by using data and the insights, like, okay, here's what you need to do today. Here's some guidance and tips.
There is one thing that I also think that AI could help us a lot, and I know that recruitment is looking at this, is not my area, but I think many times the company look outside of the skills that you are looking for, and at the same time, the employees are also looking outside for the promotions and the opportunities. So there is a gap here that the company could look internally for the potential skills that we have, and we are not mapping them. And these potential skills is going to solve an equation from both sides, from the business that is looking outside, from the people that is also looking outside, and probably is going to be better way to evaluate your attrition, those skills that you don't want to lose, those people that they have potential, and you just need to reskill them or upskill them for specific opportunities that you have. So there is this whole conversation also about recruitment that I think that is another opportunity. There are a lot of challenges here about bias, technology, etc., and who is doing this, but I think it's a huge opportunity.
Why do you think company haven't done that, like the skills mapping and try to promote?
It's really complicated. We are in this journey. It's really complicated because first you have the career architecture and the jobs, the roles, and the capabilities that you need to build, and this is part of the business and HR.
Yeah.
Then you have the skills in action. It's skills. You put the skills in action when you apply them, when you use them, right? So that is the gap that we have, because sometimes I can talk to you about your roles, about your job, but I'm not necessarily tapping into the skills that you have, or even future skills that you potential have. And I'm not looking at you or mapping these skills to think about your career or to really build up your career in the near future. It's a very complicated matrix. It's something that we are working on, but I still also think that there is this whole technology that needs to solve. So we have one technology for workforce to see the skills, the experience that we needed. Then you have another technology or another assessment to map the skills that you have and you needed for the future. Then you have to apply these skills and gain the experience and really ensure that they are connected with roles and responsibilities. It's a bit complicated. It's not that easy. And then, of course, you have learning. How you're going to really upskilling or reskilling those that you need to redirect this workforce for a different. And there are some companies that they are doing this. I just have a conversation with Novartis, and they are having an amazing journey on this. And I know that other companies are doing their own journey. I heard recently about Citibank. I heard about HSBC. So I know that banks are looking at this because there is this whole impact of technology in their workforce, and they're going to have to start looking at their skills that they have today, what they need for tomorrow.
What tools do you currently use, or have you heard other companies use?
Use Profinder. We have in learning, we have the Grid as a learning experience platform. There is a lot of conversations about Phantom, which is more in Australia that we are experienced. These are pretty much the players that we have. And of course, this is now, there is this whole conversation about how you integrate this into the human capital management system, which is the HCM. So the HCM that we have in our case is SAP for KPMG.
Okay. So it's like integrate with the human capital management system and everything.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tap into that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all the insights on these. Any kind of final advice and tips for other L&D leaders?
I would say enjoy the journey. Transformation and change it's going to be an ongoing journey. So as I mentioned, enjoy the ride, and just I think there will be frustrations, as we discussed in the beginning, and there will be opportunities, there will be challenges, but that is part of the fun of being a leader. And understand that I think technology, if used in the right way, it's going to make our life easier.
Thank you so much for sharing the knowledge on these